Meanwhile, chat, the whole fucking, press crowds around King Kong, they're all taking pictures of the supposed eighth wonder of the world. And they're going, it was the airplanes that killed him. That's what brought him down. And Carl Denham, he goes in there, and he's like, I'm going to be sued for so much money. Oh my God, I'm ruined. Hello, I just wanted to thank you for clicking on my video, and I wanted to let you know not only do I create content on my YouTube channel here, Class in a Glass, but I'm also on Twitch where I play single-player games, multiplayer games, I do movie reviews, cartoon reviews, and a whole bunch of other stuff. Also, it would be a big help if you can check out my Patreon, where you can gain access to audio commentaries, reactions, and the ability to submit questions for my podcasts and videocasts. And all that content can be found in the links below. In the meantime, enjoy the video. Now, my friends, we're going to go ahead and get down to the nitty-gritty details, chat. As you know, I am doing a scene-by-scene breakdown, chat, to a classic film. I think this is the oldest movie that I've done for review, I believe. I don't think I've done anything that's before 1933, chat. I'm pretty sure this is the oldest film I've done. And this is for King Kong, chat, popularly recognized as the original, the first of the Kaiju movies. Yes, we had gotten, dinosaur movies, that kind of thing beforehand. But this one is typically looked at, as the first Kaiju film, chat. Again, think of it as, yes, Gojira, Godzilla, 1954, that was one that popularized the genre. But King Kong, he was the OG. He was the original, chat. A lot of interesting history of this movie. But before we get into some of that history, chat, I'd like to ask you a very important question. That question being, how many of you have seen the original 1933 King Kong, chat? The one to start it all. So Goodman says, classic. Here's Buck. What King Kong film is your favorite, Chris? Skull Island is my favorite. Skull Island is definitely my favorite. Too Tall, I haven't seen this movie, but it looks old as hell since it very much is. It's nearly 100 years old. Soon will be in a couple years. Another decade. Too Tall, I haven't seen this movie, but it looks old. Yep, I just read that. Now my dad's in ICU. Oh, yeah. Again, sorry about that, summer baby. I'm glad your dad is stable. That's very good to hear. So I'm in the OG Kaiju. Sorry, Joey says, nope. 88 years ago. Feels like yesterday. Yeah, 88 years, chat. It's only 12 years away from being 100. That's amazing. No, I've not seen. Oh, this is interesting, chat. Oh yeah, happy belated birthday to Yatsuba fan, to both of you girls. Absolutely. Judas, Snar cutting at HBO Max, 68% increase in their subscription. I wonder how much Zilla and Kong will do. That's interesting. This summer I have seen it in person. Cassie, a long time ago as a child. So I sure have. I'm familiar with the lady on the building scene. So you've maybe seen some clips. Here, Spock raises his hand at me. Probably watched the whole thing at least once. Yes, she goes to it. Just, I saw it. So still holds up today. I'm old, so yeah, I've seen it. Yes, things. Of course. No, happy to support. No, I always wonder, people, I owe you a song. So if, since it was your birthday, as you guys know, I do songs for people. I serenade you either for 500 biddies, you donate 500 biddies, I give a song to you, or if it's indeed your birthday, even if it's a belated birthday, I will give you a free song. So you pick a free song, and Nia Brownie, she's the keeper of the songs, as we know, chat. And I'll do one for you later. Maybe I'll do one after my review tonight. I think that'd be fun. So go ahead and do that, or just post in the chat. Someone will take note of it, and they'll do it. So this is interesting. We got a good group here. But some of you have, and some of you have not. Well, chat, I have seen this film. This was a movie again during my youth, chat, when I was a little kid. Really, I was around maybe 10 or 11, 12, 13 years old. Around that period of time, I started to be exposed to a lot of sci-fi fantasy movies, chat, growing up. And I was obsessed with, all the Kaiju movies. I'm an OG fan. I'm a big fan of that when I was growing up, chat. All the Godzilla films, all the King Kong movies, anything else in between, Sci-Fi Channel original movies and things. And so King Kong was one of those films I had on VHS, of all the Godzilla movies, or at least most of them, chat. I had all the Godzilla films in the 50s, 60s, 70s, the 80s, and 90s. I owned all those. And King Kong was just one of those movies I watched time and time again. And, yeah, as a kid, I was like, the boring human stuff, whatever. But no, when the fucking monkey chat, when he showed up and when he fought that dinosaur and everything, I always liked the stuff on Skull Island more. I thought that was more interesting to me than when he got to the city. Because, I was a kid where, I loved dinosaurs, loved giant bugs and insects. I think a lot of kids have that phase, and I was just in the middle of that phase, chat, from 8 to 12 or 13. I was just obsessed with that kind of stuff. I loved it. And King Kong was one of those movies I'd watch watch time and time again, over and over and over, obsessively, going over every little detail, just having fun, chat. And so I'm very intimately, knowledgeable about this movie, I think, and just in terms of, like, the scenes. Like, I know exactly how this movie, how it begins all the way till how it ends, Chad. Go over all that stuff. But for those of you who might not know, Chad, was directed by Marion C. Cooper, who, think of him, Chad, as the Andy Mauger of the 1930s. Chad, you famously have this viewer, Andy Mauger, who is a makeup artist, or is an aspiring makeup artist. And he loves the monkeys, Chad. He loves the apes. Planet of the Apes, probably one of his favorite films. Goes and he has intimate knowledge of that. And this guy, Marion C. Cooper, he was obsessed with gorillas, chimps, and monkeys, all apes, all that kind of thing. And he was the director, producer, and I think he has a story credit on this movie as well for King Kong. He also was the producer of Mighty Joe Young, Chat. That was also one of his films. This was his first, I think this was his directorial debut. If not his directorial debut, then definitely the one that made him a name in 1930s Hollywood, chat. Of course, it showcased the amazing things that you could do with stop motion. There was already stuff with stop motion out there, chat. There's a lot of dinosaur movies, but this one in particular, this one kind of set the bar at the time. Like, this was revolutionary special effects. You look at it now and go, oh my God, it's a cartoon. It looks bad, but you gotta have that mindset. You gotta have that appropriate mindset. Yeah, like for 1930, people were fucking dumbfounded by this. They couldn't believe what they were seeing. All right, this is like to them, this was their, Godzilla King of the Monsters. This was their Godzilla, 2014 or what have you, or Kong Skull Island, except probably even better. This is what it was to them. It was a huge box office success, chat. Had a budget of about, and this was super expensive back in the day, about a little over $670,000. Made a initial box office of $5.3 million, but it had so many subsequent re-releases over time. It's made even more than that, and you also have to factor in home release too. It was a very popular film. Eventually, when it was finally being shown in people's homes, or you can be able to buy it, chat, whether it be on Laserdisc or VHS or Betamax and things like that. It was one of those very popular movies. And I think it was the true progenitor of the kaiju craze that we would later see in the 1950s, especially coming from international territories like Japan. Like, I don't think, part of, Godzilla, of course, was inspired by, the bombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima. I think another big influence was from King Kong, this threat from nature that came because of man's influence and pride, and it ran amok. But it's a hugely influential film, Chad, and one that's very important. It is dated, no doubt about it, in terms of its characters and its representations of minorities, Chat. There is some very offensive material in this movie. There is no doubt about that. We have these, it's funny because it takes place in the Pacific, but for whatever reason, they have Africans playing these Pacific Islanders, which is weird to me. So it shows just like a general inconsistency. But you have these very terrible native stereotypes, Chat, and how they refer to them and everything. It's offensive. We have a Chinese character, Chat, his name is Charlie, and he is just going ching chong ching. He is legitimately doing that, Chat. It's like oofa, oofa. Yeah, it does. It's not good. It's not good. But again, this was 1930s Hollywood, Chat, 1930s cinema. These stereotypes were often found in many productions across the board, Chat. There's no doubt about it. I disagree with Godzilla being dated in terms of... I'm not talking about Godzilla. I'm talking about King Kong, my friend. I'm reviewing Gojira. I'm reviewing King Kong today. Not reviewing Gojira today. But canceled. Big time canceled, Chat. Fun fact, gorilla strong enough to lift a packed car over its head. Probably could throw it a few feet. Whoa! Fully grown gorilla beats at a fully grown tiger almost every time. Did you guys know? I did not know that, but that sounds horrifying. That's why you don't want to fucking fight a gorilla, Chat. They will rip you apart. I don't want to do it. Or any type of ape. But, no, I'm not reviewing Godzilla today, so I'm reviewing King Kong. But, Chat, again, this movie has been remade multiple times. There actually was a sequel released the same year, Chat, called Son of Kong, which took a more comedic tone, funny enough, where you actually where you had the character of Denham. Thank you, Narjo, for getting this up to Saul Goodman. Very, very kind, Narjo. But we what we had it released in the same year, apparently did not do nearly as well critically or commercially, chat. I think it barely made its production budget back. I think it maybe had like 100,000 profit, but not much. What else we got? Thank you, Cleve 100 biddies. You did indeed make it, Cleve. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing very, very well. Very well. To that movie's defense, knaves you only see on the island. Fair enough. Then we cut to 93 in the Great Depression. I know, it's crazy. Narjal, thank you for gifting us up to DT.Show. We about to do a hype train? Oh, I might have to pause the review. We're going to get a hype train going in right here, chat. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. That'd be great. Yeah. No, thank you, Chad. Thank you. Oh, if a hype train, because I see that a hype train is about to commence. It says a hype train is close. One person needs to sub, gift, or use bits. Yatsuba fan, thank you for the 10 biddies. Appreciate that. Narjo gifting a sub to Nexus 1080. Thank you so much. Ooh, a big time oofa. Gotta love that KOTOR theme, Chad. Gotta love that KOTOR theme. Very, very nice. Thank you. Thank you so much, Chad. I just want to see if it's going to go off. As you know, if in case it goes off, Chad, then I don't want to get into, like, the details quite yet. But I guess let's continue to talk about at least the general facts about the film. So you did have Son of Khan, which is a sequel that released the same year. Did not perform nearly as well. Thank you, Narjo, for Divine Miss Klein. And why it says, like, a hype train is close. One person needs to sub. Interesting. Thank you. And Kazfay coming in there with the 10 biddies. Thank you so much. Or 7 biddies. Thank you so much for the 7 biddies. Thank you for your generosity, chat. Woo! Yeah, let's all agree that it was made, for time it was made, this was genius. The production value is kind of actually nuts. They really did everything they could. No, exactly. But no, I'm not saying that we're going to cancel the movie or anything like that. I'm just saying that, it has offensive things in it by today's standards. Thank you, T. Clarks, for the 100 biddies. Hype train! Hype train is incoming. Thank you. Yeah, I'm not saying that we need to throw away Khan. Of course not, chat. I'm just saying that it has things in there by today's standards that we would not have in other movies. Obviously. We wouldn't have a Chinese man going ching chong ching in a movie now. We wouldn't do that. Narjo, thank you for the 300 biddies. Appreciate that. So, Goodman, I'm not canceling this movie. Chill. Take it easy. Oh my God. Oh Lord. Thank you, chat. Thank you, generosity. As soon as we get through this hype train, chat, then I will go ahead and get back to the nitty-gritty details of this review. It'll be a fun time, indeed. Thank you, Narja, for your generosity, especially. Really do appreciate that. Yay! Very, very kind. Chris Ayers, we get back to the racism. Yeah, I was talking about some of the racism, talking about more of the dated aspects of this movie. We all watch Problem Thing. Anyway, yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. When you think the remastered KOTOR will come out. I don't know, Judas. Hopefully sometime soon. That'd be great. We'd really appreciate it. I'd really like that to come out as soon as possible. Oh. Thank you, this time. DRC, I think it's hard for most people to not play Monsters, Billy's past movies or events. We can acknowledge the bad, but also recognize it. Exactly. That's what I'm doing. Devin, the great King Kong was a time capsule. Really not. It is indeed. The cause thing is no, I'm not on your side. I'm disagreeing. No, I know you're not. I'm on your side. I'm just agreeing with the chat. That's all. Thank you, D-Cogs. Thank you for the 200 biddies. Appreciate it. After this review, chat, I'll be doing DuckTales. Then I'll be moving on to some single-player shenanigans. Narjo, thank you again for gifting another sub to Darth Fear. Thank you so much, Narjo, for the generosity. Woohoo! Indeed. Episode 3 of the rebooted DuckTales series. And tomorrow, Jay, you can come in for Gojira. Should be a good goddamn time. Yeah. Dutal Khan has kind of the masterpiece class that just started all. I totally agree. It does have offensive stuff in. My bad as that was unclear in the argument there. Got you. I understand. Thank you, Chad. Thank you. I think people just, talk about it later. No, thank you, guys. Yeah, Chad, we got if this continues, I might have to give Sarah, give you a good old-fashioned toast and get back to the review. What do you think of the 2005 King Kong? That's 3.5 hours. Not a fan. The original movie is about an hour, 40 minutes. Peter Jackson just added another hour and a half onto it that was unnecessary. Did not need it. Impressive special effects, but overall just a slog to sit through. Not the biggest fan of that film. Yeah, not the biggest fan of it. Thank you, Narja. I love your stream. Thank you, Narja. No, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. You're very generous. DeCarl coming in with the ouch, yeah, we got level 3. Well, I gotta go. I'm gonna go ahead and get some alcohol. I'm gonna get some alcohol because I gotta properly toast you right now. And once we get through this hype train, I gotta fucking get back to the nitty-gritty details. So thank you, Narja, 100 biddies. DeCarl's following up with another 200 biddies. I'll be right back, chat. Stick around. I'm gonna get myself another beverage, and I'll toast you proper. Come back. I'll come back. Thank you guys for all your support. Really do appreciate. Cheers and salute to you, chat. May the wings of Luna as a feather. You're shaking those heaven as we speak. Thank you. Oh, very nice. Very, very kind. Let's be honest, when Khan is on top of the Empire State Building, it looks corny as fuck, but when he's fighting the airplane layer, it looks badass. No, I mean, for the 1930s, this movie was absolutely incredible. There's no doubt that it's dated by today's standards, you know, for special effects. But yeah, you got to think of it in the time. No one saw something like this. No one had ever seen something like this before. It blew everyone away. Fun fact, chat, this is one of Hitler's favorite movies. Did you know that? Hitler loved it. And you need a tall glass of milk. Why would you need milk? Especially for a Universal movie. Yeah, no, this is popularized a lot. Universal was huge. Well, actually, you know, the production company for this, and they said later on maybe became Universal. It was Radio Pictures. It was distributed by Radio Pictures. I thought that was pretty cool. Jack Black was so miscast that it also makes the movie better. Yeah. He loved Khan. He loved Disney. He loved the Mickey Mouse shorts, chat. Matter of fact, his Minister of Propaganda, Joseph Goebbels, gifted him Mickey Mouse movies. Yeah. Indeed. Oh, yeah, Andy Magra's here. He'd be writing essays. He'd be posting essays in the chat right now about this particular film. It'd be quite funny. Indeed. Coming the grandson of his victims, Hitler had good taste in terms of art. He was a good painter, I can admit that, actually. He would have hated American till he would not have liked that. No, he would not. About Jewish mouse, he'd be like, fuck that! He'd be like, no! Absolutely not. But thank you, Chad, for getting hype with me. That was very, very kind. Thank you for all your generosity. In particular to DeCarlos and Narjo, Kazfay. Thank you for your generosity, guys. That was very, very sweet of you. Yes. Yeah. Lightborn Cloud, welcome to stream. Hope you're doing very well. Good to see you. Level 3 indeed. Level 3 was achieved, chat. It was awesome. Very, very awesome. Thank you, Narsho. No, I appreciate that. And we'll get back to this review. Got all the facts out of the way, chat. All the details of the film. Made the careers of other actors, too. Made Fay Wray's career, chat. She got top billing for this movie. kind of set the trope of the, you know, the blonde bombshell being the damsel in distress screaming at the top of her lungs. She has an incredible scream in this. You also have character or actor Bruce Cabot played the character of Captain Jack Driscoll, chap. He was this was his first major role, and all he pretty much said that I was just told to stand in place and well, you know, just delivered these lines, and I read off the cue cards, and I got fucking paid for it. He was not actually happy about his participation in Con, but it made his career too. So we saw this funny. Thank you, chap, for all the support right there. Cheers and salute to you again. All right, let's get back to the nitty-gritty details of this film, chat. All right, doing a scene-by-scene breakdown, chat, for King Kong 1933, chat. We start, chat, at the docks in New York Harbor, chat, New York City Harbor, all right? And we have the filmmaker of Mr. Denham, chat, Carl goddamn Denham, played by Robert Armstrong, and he has a new picture that he wants to shoot, chat. He has a location of a mysterious island, chat. He's told the crew very little details of this mysterious island called Skull Island, chat. And he wants to get on the goddamn boat and get there and start shooting. The problem is, chat, he needs a dame. He needs a broad at last minute notice. Like, he needs a woman, a face that will melt hearts, chat, make men and women swoon. Thank you so much. Thank you to Yusuke Crazy Diamond for the follow. You're my new Huckleberry. You're my new Huckleberry, chat. Oh, but he needs a new person to get on the goddamn boat because he doesn't have a fucking damsel in distress for his movie. He's like, shit, and he's asking the captain, chat. He's asking the captain of the vessel, Engelhorn, where the hell his name, Engelhorn, where the hell his name is. He's like, listen, man, we're gonna be leaving in like less than 6 hours, okay? So he's like, shit. He's like, I gotta find me a broad to take on this trip, and so he just spends the next a little under 6 hours driving through New York trying to find a blonde bombshell, chat. And so one of the first places he goes to is this women's shelter, and he's looking at all these ladies. He's like, nope, too ugly, too fat, too old, don't need you, don't want you. Not the greatest guy in the world, chat. You know, he's kind of like, he's very much just looking there to exploit these poor women, these poor ladies, and he doesn't even want them. But you know what he does spot, chat? This woman who's just looking at this newsstand, fruit stand, like a combination fruit stand, newsstand, chat, and she places her hand upon an apple. Don't do that, you're gonna spread germs, okay? What was the thing going on back in the day, chat? Cholera, the rickets? I'm not sure. I don't want any of your cholera rickets germs over the goddamn produce. And this guy goes, ah! The owner of the newsstand / fruit stand, chat, he just fucking grabs her hand. And he's about to chop it off, Chad. It's like, Jesus Christ. It's like in Aladdin. Remember when Jasmine grabs, like, that piece of bread or that apple and she just gives it to those fucking kids? And this guy's, well, you know the goddamn law. Your daddy, he fucking wrote it. And he's about to chop her hand up, and then Aladdin comes in to save her, and he falls in love with her and shit. Remember that? It's same thing. Same thing in this movie, Chad, where the guy grabs her. He has a big old fucking, meat cleaver about to chop her hand off. And then good old Carl Denham, he's like, no, stop. Get out of here. I was like, hey, how much did that cost? A nickel? I could pay for that. Gives him the fucking nickel, and he goes on his way and puts the meat cleaver in. And he's like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? She goes, I'm fucking starving. I've been kicked out. My daddy doesn't want me. Mama doesn't want me. And this is what I do. And he sees her, chat, and she's like, oh, she looks hot. Fay Wray, as we all know, beautiful, chat. And he's like, how about this? How about I go get you some fucking hot coffee, some soup, a nice sandwich at one of these New York diners. She's like, well, that sounds great. You're a really nice guy. He goes, yeah, sure. Let's go to the diner. And so they go in this diner, chat. And he starts, he's like, okay, I'm going to go ahead, going to feed her all the food. And he gets on the telephone. He says, listen, I just got this fucking hot young blonde broad. I'm going to manipulate her to go on this journey, and I'm not going to pay her shit and probably endanger her life. And they're like, that doesn't sound good. So he's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm not paying you to care. And he hangs up. And he goes, hey, listen, kid, I'm going to tell you what. We're about to ship out on this big picture. I'm a film director, okay? I'm a movie maker. I work the picture shows. And you have the face that's going to sell my movie, all right? Listen, we can work out the details later on, but we got to get going, like, now, all right? So you don't have time to eat all that, so you better stuff your face. Don't eat too much, though, because I need my women slim. And so what is it, kid? Yes or no? And she's like, yes. He's like, great, let's go. And so he drives to the dock, chat, as soon as the goddamn ship's about to, leave the harbor, and they get on there, chat. But the thing is, the crew, they're not used to having ladies on board, chat, especially Captain Jack. Jack sees this, and he's like, I don't like it. I don't like having no women on board. And, he's talking with Captain Englehorn, and he's like, you just got to get over it, Jack. He's fucking paying for this journey. And Captain Jack's like, listen, man, where the hell are we even going? He's like, listen, I can't reveal that to you, but everything shall soon be revealed. And so, good old Fay Wray, she's just getting accustomed to the crew. They're all like, I'm not just thirsting after her, chat. They haven't seen bazungas in months. And she's got some pretty big bazungas, not going to lie. And so they're all lusting and thirsting. And, fucking Carl Denham is trying to keep her away as they go towards their journey. And so eventually he reveals where they're going. He talks to Captain Englehorn, and he talks to Captain Jack, and he says, listen, guys, this is where we're going, okay? I got this map in a bazaar somewhere in Thailand. And he says, he puts it out there, and it's like, it's in the Pacific. It's an uncharted island, but they have the exterior at the very least. It's called Skull Island, but they believe, travelers who have escaped from there's this giant stone wall and a huge jungle that resides where primeval creatures lost to history. And they're going, is it safe? And he goes, yeah, it's safe. Yeah, that's no problem at all. And they're like, oh, okay, well, as long as you keep paying us. And they're like, of course. And so eventually, chat, he's like, well, I got to train this lady, this broad, how to act. And so he's like, listen, we're going to do a little exercise here. So the camera is like, what's going to happen is I have the old-timey camera, chat, 1933 camera. He's like, what I'm going to do, I'm going to set this here, set it on the little tripod. And as soon as I start, cranking the crane right here, cranking the lever, you just follow my instructions, okay? That's what we're gonna do. And she's like, okay. And she's in this beautiful white silk dress, chat. She's looking fine, looking great, showing off all the curves. And and all guys are like, there's lusting after her, chat, just watching. They all stop their fucking work for all the fucking boat can go down. They could care less. They're just watching this lady right here. And so he's like, all right. And so, what you see here, you're looking down, you slowly look up, and you're going ahead and you're blinking your eyes very fast because you don't understand what you're seeing at first. You're taking all in amazement. She's doing all these things. She's looking around. She goes, oh. And it says, suddenly, you train your eyes upward. You keep looking up and up and up. And she does that thing. She looks up and up and up. And at first, you're in shock. You can't believe what you're seeing. You're out of breath. You can't even scream. It's like it's stuck in your throat. And she's like, oh. And then he's like, it's the biggest monster you've ever seen. You ever let your eyes on. And then you scream. Ah! And she just gives this fucking high-pitched goddamn scream. All the crew go, oh, because it's so loud. It is the quintessential, chat. It is the quintessential high-pitched damsel in distress scene. The goddamn Fay Wray. She trademarked it, chat. And I don't know if she's considered a scream queen. You think of scream queen, chat, you always think of like Jamie Lee Curtis, right? Think of Jamie Lee Curtis, of course. But I would call Fay Wray, she's the OG scream queen, in my opinion, chat. She does a great goddamn job. And fucking Jack's like, I don't like no fucking broads on this ship. And eventually, Fay Wray, she goes ahead, she's like to look at the ship. It's like, oh, cool ship stuff. She just loves all the ship stuff, chat. And Jack's like, hey, now, don't fucking mess with it with your women powers. I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? And she's like, what are you talking about, silly? And, she's like, you don't like women, do you? He's like, I don't care for them dames too much. It's like, okay, Jack, that's fine. He goes the other way. There's no nothing wrong with that, chat, but he's not accustomed to it. He has this very ignorant opinion on women. And then we get the quintessential, fucking romance where they spend literally a couple, I guess it's weeks. You imagine it's been weeks on board this fucking vessel, chat, and they start smooching. They start having the sex. They're just loving each other. They can't believe it. But eventually, so all their time, hating each other, eventually they're like, oh, these two are just met with each other, and they're always smooching, having a great goddamn time. But then, chat, they have finally come to Skull Island. We get there fucking quick, baby, and they're on the outskirts. And then you have all these other characters introduced. You have a lot of red shirts, but there's one character in particular, chat. His name is Charlie, and he's the ship's cook. And he's a Chinese man, chat, and he's stereotypically Chinese, where he talked like this. He talked in broken English the entire time. He cannot pronounce his L's and everything. And you even have Fay Wray is asking, Charlie, do you know anything about love? He's like, you'll pay 2 goose to marry. And it's like, that's not nice. That's not very good. You pay 2 goose to marry woman. It's like, and everyone's like, well, Carl Denham's like, all right, enough of your goddamn ching-chong speak, Charlie. We have to get to Shaw. And I'm like, all right. And so they're going to take a crew. And at this point, they're like, you know what, sir? Because Captain Jack, he's been busy smooching, having the sex with Fay Wray the entire goddamn time, chat. And he's like, maybe Fay Wray should stay on board. And he's like, nah, fuck that. Bring her ass in there. We got to go shoot that picture show. And so they all get in the boat. And Charlie's like, can I come? And they're like, no, you're Chinese. You can't come with us. And it's like, that's racist. And so they all go in the fucking boats, Jeff. They all go in the goddamn boats. And they row out there. They row out there. They keep the big, fucking boat out there. They bring Captain Englehort and Captain Jack and all that. And they go on the island. And then they notice signs of civilization, Chan. They hear this bum, 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 bum. Bongos and drums. Bongos. Bongos. All the bongos, Chan. And they see that, all these huts and everything, all these structures, but, they can't find any of the villagers, Chan, any of the natives. And they get closer and closer, and they see that this giant ceremony is taking place against this wall, Chan, this huge stone wall. And you have all these, even though it's in the Pacific, they're all Africans, which is weird. So maybe they were misplaced. I don't know. Maybe it was because of thousands upon thousands of years ago, chat, where you had these land bridges, the ice bridges across the world, tens of thousands of years ago, and these people just stayed in this one spot and they're just there. Kind of inconsistent, but whatever. And they have they're adorning this girl, this young African girl, chat, with flowers and incense and fruits and all sorts of things, chat. Necklaces and jewelry and things. And she's just kind of like, I don't like this at all. And fucking, Carl Denham, he's like, oh, this would be perfect for my movie. This will be the opening. And he's like, all right, go ahead and get the camera rolling. But, sir, shouldn't we, ingratiate ourselves to them first? Nah, fuck them. Fuck that. No, let's start rolling the film. And so they start rolling the goddamn movie. Start showing this off, and they're like, yeah, this is great. But then the fucking village chief, he says, in the chat, it's like literally oonga boonga. And they're like, uh-oh, that's not good. That's not good. And so they stop, and they stop the ceremony. And this guy starts talking to him, chat, in his native language. And, Carl Denham is like, what the fuck are they talking about? And he's like, I think I can kind of understand their dialect at this point. And so Captain Englehort, chat, he starts communicating with the village natives. And Carl Denham is like, what the hell are they saying? And he's like, they're saying that we've interrupted the ceremony and it is now kaput. It is now no good at this point. We fucked it up. And Carl Denham is just like, fuck that. Just tell them that we're friends. We'll give them anything they want. Tell them that we're friends and we just want to be here to be friends with them. And he goes, okay. And he starts communicating with them. And he's like, and the guy, village chieftain, all the people are like, no, we don't want to be fucking friends with you, white man. No, pale face. No fucking thank you. But they see Fay Wray and they're like, shit, we want her. We want the female pale face. And they're like, nah, she's not for sale unless she has something for us. He's like, no. They're like, she is not for sale. We cannot give her. He's like, we will forgive you for intruding upon our ceremony if you allow us to sacrifice the white woman to Khan. And again, everyone's like, what is this Khan? They're like, maybe it's their god. The Captain Englehort, that's probably their god or something. And, they're saying, but fuck, Carl Denham Jack's like, absolutely not. And they're like, how about we just keep saying friend and we'll back away from this whole thing. We'll just keep backing up, just back up. And, the fucking natives are still following them, chat, but they back all the way up and they go back to shore. Carl's like, listen, guys, we need to get back on there. I need to make my movie film. I need to make my picture. That's what I'm paying you all for. So we're going to eventually go there. We just have to somehow befriend the natives without selling our biggest star. I'm not going to sell Fay Wray to them, chat, to be sacrificed to their god. Not going to do that. Meanwhile, chat, we have... Fay Wray and Jack, they're busy smooching and having the sex. They're having a great time. And they're already talking about, after this whole business is done, let's just get hitched. Let's get married. I'm done spending my life at sea. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Aw, it's adorable, Chan. Jack's like, hold on, I got to go take a leak. And so he goes to the potty. And Fay Wray, she's just hanging out there, chat. But little do we know, chat. Some of the villagers, some of the natives have rowed out there in canoes, chat, in the dead of fucking night. And they have boarded the ship. They board the ship, and they grab her. They're like, yes, white chocolate. And they grab her, chat. But no, she's like, she starts flailing. She starts flailing, chat, and she rips off one of their ceremonial necklaces, and it falls to the ground. But they take her though, and they take her back to shore, chat. Meanwhile, Charlie, you know, Ching Chong Charlie, chat, he finds the necklaces. He's like, oh no, all hand on deck, all hand on deck. And everyone's like, what the hell? Charlie's talking about something. Well, let's go down. And so they all go down there, chat, and Jack's like, what's up, Charlie? And he's like, crazy black man stole Fay Wray. I am not joking. That's what he says. Crazy black man stole Fay Wray. Well, stole white lady. And it's like, uh-oh. And he's like, I want to go and fight them. And they're like, nah, Chinese people can't fight. And so he stays on the boat. And they're all like, okay, we need a team because we got to go there and slaughter all the natives. We got to just go onto the boat or go on back to the beach and slaughter them. Men, women, children, fuck it. Who gives a shit? And so they got all their rifles and everything, chat. I get all this ammunition, explosives, dynamite, gas grenades. They have poison gas grenades. Like, they're going to commit genocide. And so they go there. They're like, white chocolate. I fucking That's what happened at Chicago. Welcome to the stream, by the way. And so they get in the fucking boat. And they head to shore. Meanwhile, the natives, they are prepping Fay Wray. Thank you for the 5 minutes. I watched this movie as part of college course about this movie set in New York, and when that scene comes up, there was a lot of gas. Oh, gas throughout the room. Oh, it's funny. It was like, crazy black man. I was like, oh, no. Oh, no. Crazy black man stole Fay Wray. And so they're prepping Fay Wray, chat, for the ceremony. You know, they're revealing the bosoms. There's a lot of cleavage. Like, you actually, I don't know if it's just because the dress she has on, but I think you can really see her nipples through the material. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, there's a lot. I was like, man, I don't remember this much, you know, cleavage in this movie. But you see a lot of it. It's funny how, like, standards changed, like, in the 30s and in the 50s. Everything's, like, very conservative, except for maybe, like, you know, Marilyn Monroe. But it was interesting that you actually see her nipples through her dress throughout the entire, everything, all the jungle segments is like, wow. It's like, damn. I remember that, but I was like, oh, they're right out there. And so they're prepping her, chat. They put her the ceremony of flowers on her and everything. They have they put all the you know, the herbs and all the herbs and spices on her, chat. All the herbs, 11 herbs and spices. And they tie her to these 2 pillars, chat, right outside. They open the big fucking door, this giant wooden door, chat, connected to the stone wall. And they put her in the between the top of these 2 pillars, shit, nice and tight, like little bondage fetish there. And then they start just banging on this fucking drum, chat, just boom, 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 because, chat, that's the dinner bell for their main man, chat, their god, King Khan. And then Fay Wray's like, what the fuck is going on, chat? Because she's been fainting. She faints a lot in this movie. She has a fucking concussion by the end of this film, chat. Like, you probably shouldn't faint that much, hitting her head on fucking logs and shit. That's not good. And all the fucking sudden, chat, you see the trees just start moving away, and you see him, chat. You see Monkey. You see Monkey, chat. King Khan himself. And normally, King Khan, he'd be like, all right, what's on the fucking menu? Because King Khan, the thing he loves most, shit, is to put things in his mouth and just eat them. Like, that's his go-to kill move, chat, for humans. He's just like, that's all he does. He doesn't, like, you know, smush you. I mean, he does smush a few people and grinds into the muck and stuff, into the goddamn, you know, concrete and shit when we get to New York. But he loves his put people in his mouths and just start chewing. And that's what he thinks that's on tonight's menu, chat, some of that dark meat. But he said, you guys weren't telling me you were getting some white meat, because then he sees Fay Wray giving her just screaming. He's like, he's happy about this, chat. And she tries to, like, get out. She's like, fuck this. Fay Wray, she's like, I'm going to have those Mama Grizzly powers. And she rips down her bond shit. She gets herself out of there, but she's like, fuck this. And she just faints. And Khan, he's just like, yeah. He has her. He's like, this is good. He's like, yeah. Oh. He banged his chest and stuff. He's like, I like what you gave me here. This is good. This is the best thing you've given me so far. Very nice. And this is establishing Khan's fetish for blonde bombshells, chat. That's his thing. That's the thing he loves most. But eventually, chat, as you know, he's about to go back into the jungle. We see that Denham and Jack and everything, they've, you know, invaded the land, and they start shooting. And the natives are like, oh, fuck that. We don't know what the hell this is, this gunpowder, this bullet shit. And they just take off. They just scatter at this point. And they see, just as Khan is about to go into the jungle, they see that something is taken her. They don't even know what it was. But they're like, oh my shit, holy shit. Because they're up on the precipice and they see him like going back in the thick jungles. Here's what, we gotta get this fucking door open. And so they open the goddamn door, and they say, okay, well, some of us need to stay here, so you stay guard, like Captain Englehort and several of his men. Just make sure to, you know, keep the door open and keep the natives off of us. And then Denham Captain Jack, they just run into the jungle, chat, after Khan. And we see Khan still has Fay Wray. He's just like trying to, just having a good time, just go in that direction. Eventually, though, what the Jack and Denham's men, they are accosted, chap, by a Stegosaurus. Now, again, this is stop motion. This is claymation, so it looks rough. But at the time, people were like, "Oh my God, it's a fucking dinosaur!" And they see a Stegosaurus. They're like, "Oh shit, get out of its path." And it's like, "Oh no, it's charging!" And this Stegosaurus is like, "I don't fucking like you. You shouldn't be here." And it goes right at him, Jack. Just goes right at him, and they just start shooting at this thing. It's like, because it's getting, hit with liquid hot molten lead shit. They don't want it. It's like, oh God, witness me. Expire Gaming, thank you so much for the raid. Appreciate that. The second raid of the night. Very, very kind. And this, what they did is, chat, they did picture in picture. So they basically, it's like they superimpose two images like on top of each other. So you see this thing charging, but it's not really like a thing that's charging at them. They're just looking at it like, oh, as if it is. And there's even a really funny scene in just a minute. But it's good. It's the effects of the time, chat. This is what they have to do. Pretty good. It's pretty good. Thank you, Xar Gaming. Hope you're doing very well. Just in the middle of my review for King Kong 1933. It's been awesome, man. It's been awesome. A lot of support from the people. And so they shoot this fucking thing. It's like, and everything. By the way, all the plant-eating dinosaurs, like the Stegosauruses and Brontosaurus, they all eat meat for some reason. Like they're eating people, and she was like, okay. They didn't care back then. And this thing manages to go down. And they're like, and they love it because they're walking what is obviously like on a treadmill-esque thing. They're going, oh, look at the size of this thing. It's huge. It's like they're not looking at anything. They're just giving stage directions like, pretend you're being amazed. Kind of like what we saw with Denham's character with Fay Wray earlier. You can't believe your eyes, what you're saying. And they're walking past this thing. We see like its tail go, whoa. It's going up and down and stuff. They're like, oh, it's still alive. Shoot it again. And they start shooting. This thing fucking bamboozles them, chat, because it just gets right back on its legs and tries to swing its tail, but it's too late because it go pow with the rifles, and this thing goes down. It's dead. Dead forever, chat. No longer corporeal. Got its ass kicked. And I'm like, okay, we got to continue into the goddamn jungle. So they fucking keep on going, chat. They keep on going. And they decide, shit, oh, God, because they see that Khan, he's traversed this swamp. This giant, massive swamp, or could be a lake for all we know, but it looks like a swamp. And I'm like, oh God, we can't get him that quickly. So let's go ahead and just create a raft at this point. And so they spend their time putting a raft together, chat, from all these reeds and logs and stuff. Meanwhile, Khan, he's guy, I gotta take a break. It took a while for me to get through that swamp, and he goes ahead and puts Fay Wray down the ground. She's like, what the fuck happened? Ah! And she starts screaming because he sees Khan going, ah. He's enjoying what he's seeing, chat. He's poking. He's being very gentle, though. He's like poking her and kind of petting her and stuff. He's also playing. He actually is kind of ripping out her dress, so he's like, oh. He's like sniffing. He's like, yeah, he likes what he's seeing, chat. But because then because he goes to eat like some shit. And he puts her in like, she's on the ground at this point. Oh, no, she's on a tree. I think she's on a tree. Puts her on a tree. He's like, I want you to go anywhere. He goes eat some reeds and shit, some bananas. But chat, she sees a fucking Allosaurus, not a T-Rex, because it got 3 little hands, 3 little fingers, chat. And it's like, I'm gonna eat that white bitch. And he's like, no, it's my white chocolate. And so Khan runs on over, chat. We get one of the biggest action scenes in the movie where it's him kicking this Allosaurus's ass, chat. I mean, they're going at him. It's hard. We see, Fay Wray, she's on top of the tree. It's this dead tree, trying to avoid the fight as she's watching from afar, chat, as Khan and this Allosaurus go at it, chat. One of Khan's big move is to just rip open the jaw until he breaks the fucking jawbone. But at one point during the fight, the Allosaurus knocks Khan, and he hits the log, and the tree comes down with Fay Wray. She's like, ah! And she takes refuge behind the log, chat. As Khan eventually, he's like on top of this thing. He's somersaulting, he's doing fucking handstands, all sorts of stuff. And eventually, chat, he just grabs its jaw, and he just splits it until the jawbone breaks, until I can't even close its mouth anymore. And he's just always like, like seeing if it's alive and shit. But it's dead. And he goes over to Fay Wray, chat. He's like, pretty lady, and he grabs her. Meanwhile, so he defeated the Allosaurus, kicked its ass. And again, this scene is an iconic moment in the movie. Eventually, we cut back to Captain Jack and Carl Denham, chat. They're on this giant raft they constructed, and they're going across this swamp. But all of a sudden, chat, they see this giant fucking dinosaur head come out of the water and just stares at him. And they're like, what the fuck is that? Shoot it. And they just start shooting at it. It's like, should have done that, baby. I always thought this was a Loch Ness monster. Like, like Nessie. It's not. But what it does is it goes back under the water to avoid the bullets, and it just comes out like underneath the raft and knocks them all off. They're like, ah! And then they just start swimming for their fucking lives, chat, as you see some of the guys just get torn, like pulled under the fucking water, being taken under the water, being eaten alive, whatever the hell this thing is. Most of them all get to shore at this point. Captain Jack and Denham and some of the red shirts, as I like to call them, chat. They just start booking it. They book it in every goddamn direction, chat. We see this one guy. You see this one last guy get out of the water. He's like, oh, help me. He's like, oh. He's a chubby guy, chat. So he didn't stand a chance. And we see this dinosaur that's coming out of the water. It was a brontosaurus, not one of those water dinosaurs. She has a brontosaurus. And it's like right behind his ass. And he's like, oh, like probably should have just went in a different direction. But he decides to climb a tree. So he's in perfect, like, mouth-eating, mouth-eating area for this thing to go down on him, chat. So he gets in this tree. And he's like, oh. This thing's like, hum, just trying to end him. And eventually, chat gets him by the leg, breaks the leg. He's like, oh. And it's just starts, just chews him up, chat. And patooey, just spits him out, chat, and steps on him. He's like, row. And it goes back in the water. Meanwhile, we follow our group of intrepid heroes, chat, as they're cachooning through the jungle. Carl Denham, he gets stuck on a fucking branch. He's like, oh, and he gets, I got stuck on a branch here. And so he's left behind by the rest of the group. They're like, fuck you, Carl. You got us in this mess anyway. And then Captain Jack and the rest of these guys, they're about to cross this precipice, but oh shit, because someone's been hearing all this screaming and stuff, chat. So Khan's like, the fuck's going on? And he puts Fay Wray down. He's like, you stay here, bitch. And he goes over there and he sees him. He fucking sees him trying to cross this giant log. And he's like, I ain't having that bullshit. And he goes over to him, Captain Jack, he's like, fuck this. And he goes down like this cliff via a vine. And he hides in this little alcove, this little crevasse, if you will. While the other guys, they're going to go over the log, but Khan's like, no, you ain't going anywhere. And they're like halfway from getting the other side, right in the middle of the log. And Khan just grabs the log and starts like lifting it and shaking it and turning it and shit. And these guys are like, oh, hold on to me. But he starts turning like, oh, and they fall to the earth and go, boom, they're slamming into the ground, chat below. There's no water there. It is dry as hell, chat. As they're hitting all these fucking rocks, just exploding on impact, chat. It's like, ooh, like a water balloon on hot cement, chat. It's not looking good for the our intrepid heroes trying to save Fay Wray. And eventually, he's still shaking them off. And they're like, oh, there's still like a few more. There's like about 2 or 3 guys left on it. And he's like, all right, fuck it. He just pulls the log back and he just tips it over. And then they're like, oh, it's the one guy is like, he's all broken, but he's still alive. He died anyway. Fucking log just smacks him, chat, just explodes. Limbs just shoot off of him. And he's dead. But he's like, now I know one of these fucking sons of bitches. All these sons of bitches still, I can smell him. And he knows that Captain Jack's down there. So he starts reaching down like, what the fuck are you? Come here. He tries to grab him and chat. Captain Jack's like, shit. And he pulls out his big old machete, chat. He has a machete. And he starts going, starts slicing at his fingers. And Khan's like, ow. He's like, ow. He doesn't like it. Meanwhile, Captain Jack sees this giant fucking lizard coming up, trying to eat him, and he's like, oh, shit. He's, like, trying to stab it and everything. Khan reaches down, he grabs the lizard, and he's like, I hate you! He's like, all right, that must have been it. And he throws him down there. The lizard hits all the other guys, and the lizard's like, and it starts eating everybody. And he's like, Khan's like, well, I'm done. And he goes after Fay Wray. He goes and picks up Fay Wray, and he continues on his journey. Meanwhile, Carl Denham, chat, he gets lost, but he manages to find his way, and he's across the crevasse from Captain Jack. And Captain, Carl Denham's like, I'm sorry, I lost you there for a second. He's like, you got to go back there and tell the guys to ready the bombs, the poison bombs. I'm going to go and get Fay Wray. And he's like, fuck her, fuck that broad. She doesn't deserve it. And he's like, we need to bring her back, Carl. He's like, all right, do what you want, but I'll go get the poison bombs. And so he goes back while Jack continues on his journey to rescue Fay Wray. Eventually, Khan, he's approaching his domicile, chat, his cave. And so he arrives there. It's in the heart of Skull Island itself, chat, this massive cave in the shape of a monkey skull, and a great ape skull. And he goes in there, chat. We see all these cadavers, all these bones that he's probably eaten over him. His many victories, chat. And he's taking a drink. He helps himself out. He puts Fay Wray on top of this little precipice. kind of like the living room area of his cave, and he starts drinking the water and shit. But all of a sudden, we see this giant fucking snake come out of nowhere. It just starts slithering, and it's going to get Fay Wray. He's like, Colin's like, no! Well, it's kind of like, no, this is a water dinosaur. It looks like a snake, but it's more like a water snake-esque dinosaur. And right before it's about to swore Fay Wray, he's like, no! And Con just grabs him. He goes, bah, bah. He fucking does incredible, like what the Incredible Hulk did, the Loki and Avengers chat. Just starts bashing all around, you know, fucking puny dinosaur. And bites its fucking neck all the way through, and just throws it back in the water. Enjoying himself. And eventually, he just grieves Fay Wray's like, and he just faints again. She's constantly fainting, Chad, constantly hitting her head on rocks. Her face just looks like, it's all swollen and battered, Chad. Like, it looks bad. But he grabs her. And he waddles up, Chad, to the second floor. Meanwhile, that's when Jack enters the cave, and he sees Con going up there. He's like, shit, okay, somehow he's got to get distracted. There's no way I'm going to be able to save her. And see, he makes it all the way up there. Meanwhile, Con, he's just playing with her like an action figure, like, you know, making her walk around and shit. It's like, yeah, he loving it. Ripping off more of her dress, Chat, revealing the bazungas that reside underneath. Takes out something chill, keeps sniffing. He's like, whoa. That's good, white lady. And eventually, though, Chad, he puts her down because he's going to do something. He's like, I got to take a shit. And he goes and poops. Meanwhile, a pterodactyl attack. A pterodactyl comes down, starts and wants, I want to eat that bitch. I want to eat Fay Wray. He's like, meow, meow, meow. Just trying to get her, Chad. Just trying to see. She's like, ah. She's like freaking out. And Con's like, hey, that's my white meat. And he comes over there, Chad, and the pterodactyl's like, oh, fucking shit. It tries to fly away because it knows it can't fight Con. Con's like, come here, bitch. Grabs him and just starts just slamming on his wings, breaking its fucking wings, Chad. Kill a tent. It's like, I can't do anything. And Con, like, he does the move again, Chad, where he takes its beak and goes, nah, and snaps its fucking mouth, its jaw. Meanwhile, Captain Jack, he comes on over. He's like, come here, shh. And she's like, oh, fuck, shit, let's go. And he grabs her, Chad. They're trying to hide and everything. And they go to this, the end, because they're at, like, this, the very top of the mountain where there's this huge precipice, and like we're gonna go down this vine, and so they start going down this vine. Con's like, wait a minute, because he sees what's going on. He's like, shit. He throws the fucking pterodactyl away, and he's trying to grab at him. He's like, no, and he starts grabbing the vine, like pulling them up slowly. He's like, I'm gonna get you now. We're gonna play house forever. And they're like, whoa. And Captain Jack's like, fuck it, take out this knife, Chet, and just cuts it. And Fay Wray goes, they fall down into the water, Chad. They fall in the water again, and Con's like, no, that's my girlfriend. And he has to go down the long way, Chad. Would have been cool if he just fucking, all right, fuck it, I'll jump down there too. But he doesn't. He's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not being like that crazy white man down there. And then Captain Jack and Fay Wray, they're just running through the fucking jungle trying to get back. Just like, fuck, Jesus, just avoiding all the fucking monsters and shit. And they're seeing Godzilla and Mothra and Ghidorah. They're like, fuck you. We have no time for this. And they go straight to the door. So good for Jack. He knows where he came from. Has good He has a good direction, Chad. Good sense of direction. Meanwhile, we just see the crew just fucking eating and drinking, and they're like, the natives attacked you. I was like, no, they're still afraid of our guns and shit. And they're like, all right. And so eventually, though, you know, they got all the poison bombs and shit and the heavy artillery. But they see Fay Wray and Captain Jack coming in the jungle, and he's like, he's right fucking behind us, run! And they get in there, like, what are you talking about? And they see Con just like, that's my girlfriend. They're like, oh, shit. And at this point, they're like, well, get the door closed, get the door. And they all start panicking. And eventually, even the villagers are like, oh, you fucking idiot, you brought her back? He's not going to stop. And the villagers, chat, the natives, they come out of their domiciles, and they start helping the crew. Like, we're all in this together now. And they start putting the door, like, they shut the door, chat. They put the giant log, that's the lock right in there. Boom, we're okay. But then Con's like, fuck that, I'm thirsting. All right, he's like an ex-boyfriend, chat, that will not leave his ex-lady friend alone. He just starts slamming on the door, chat, just pressing on it, putting all of his weight in there. And all the crew and the natives just trying to hold the door back, trying to prevent him from going in there at this point. And you have some of Captain Englehort's men. Yeah, on top, they're trying to shoot at Con, but it's hard to shoot him from where they are. And eventually, Chet, goes, brah, oh yeah, and the whole fucking door comes down, Chet, and slams on, like the doors fall on top of the crew, and they're like, ah, smush, Chet. They explode from the sheer weight and velocity of the fallen doors. It's not good, Chet. One guy just see him, just like, oh my God. everything over the place. And Khan he just starts grabbing people. This is his go-to. He kills a lot of the natives here. You'll notice that a lot of, most of the, other than the guys that got crushed by the door, most of the people he goes after are the natives. And when he grabs like a native guy, he's like, he put him in the mouth. The guy's like, he's like starts chewing on him and always spits him out. Doesn't eat him all the way. Sees one guy coming on over, Che just steps on him and just starts grinding him into the fucking mud. He's like, he's just doing that. We see Khan just destroying all their homes. It's this complete anarchy. This whole culture has just been ravaged by the white man. Also Khan, Khan's helping. He goes in there. We see this one little baby, this one little native baby. He's like, and Khan's like, I'm going to eat that baby. I'm going to step on that baby. And this guy comes out of nowhere and just scoops up the baby. He's like, nope. Just scoops him up and they take refuge, thankfully. So Khan does not step on no baby, chat. But eventually he's like, I want Fay Wray. He's going right towards her, chat. And eventually they're like, have you ready the poison bombs? They're like, we have. And so they've set up on the beach and he's going right towards the beach at this point. And they just start firing all these, like, these smoke grenades, these poison grenades at him, chat. And they hit him, and he's like, yeah, it didn't hurt. And he's like, oh, shit. And because he starts smelling that, chat. They're finding these cocaine grenades at Khan. He's like, oh, it just overwhelms him. You know, overwhelms him, chat, and he fucking just falls down. He goes down, chat, crushes a few more of the sailors. Just, and that's it. And they're like, oh, good, we can get back to the boats. And Carl Denham's like, maybe we can do that. However, we have lost a lot of money on this expedition. And of human life, of course. But wouldn't it be great? We can do, instead of a picture show, we can do a live show. We can bring Khan back to the mainland. The 8th wonder of the world. And they're like, are you fucking nuts? No, absolutely not. They're going, come on. We'll go ahead and build a really big raft, tie him to the boat, and we'll go back to New York. It'll be easy peasy. And they're like, listen, we don't want to do this. And they're like, I'll give you 10% of the box office, each and every one of you. And they're like, fucking sold, man. Let's do it. We get a percentage of this. Let's, all the survivors. Yeah, I'll also pay the survivors' families, whatever, a finder's fee. And yeah, we'll do a show every single night. Make a shit ton of money. And they're like, all right, let's do it. And so they build a giant raft. You have the time to the fucking boat. And they go back to New York. And then after, it's like many days, many weeks later, chat, and it's the opening, chat, the debut performance, if you will, of Khan, king of the monsters, chat, King Khan, the 8th wonder of the world. He was king where he was, but here he's just a slave to us. It's like, I see, allegory. I see what's going on here. And so you have all these people like going to the show, and they're like, oh, God, I had to pay $20 for this. Which back in 1983, chat, we were in the middle of the Great Depression, was like, might as well have been $500 to somebody. And they're like, I paid $20 for this. I don't know what the hell this is. Apparently, it's a big monkey. Apparently, he monkey. That's what we're going to see. They're all getting to see all these fucking rich white people and stuff. Meanwhile, we cut to the back, chat. We hear Khan go, oh, and all that shit. You have all these, like, the press, they're just staring at this thing. Like, oh, my fucking God, what is this? And Carl Denham is like, okay, now, boys, I'm going to bring you out here in just a second. Take pictures of the giant monkey, all right? And I'll start entertaining the people, tell them about my story, about the story of Carl Denham, great director and explorer of Skull Island. They're like, okay, cool. And eventually, chat, Carl Denham, he goes up on stage. The people are like, yeah, whatever, Carl Denham. And it's like, ladies and gentlemen, I have something to show you that you have never set sight on before. He was a king where he was from, but now he is just a visitor, a slave to the will of the white man. I give you King Khan. And they fucking, the Turkids reveal he's in chains. He's like, like they got him up there, chat. He's like, I want to eat all of you. He just wants to eat all of them, chat. That's what he fucking wants to do. And he's like, oh, and they're like, oh, the crowd are like, going, what the fuck? You would freak out when you saw like a, you know, what, 25-foot tall monkey? A 25-foot tall ape chase, big monkey. And at this point, he's like, oh, don't be alarmed. That is cold, hard Pennsylvanian steel, keeping him where he is. Don't be concerned. And it's like, and now I want to introduce Khan's bride-to-be, the one who went through a perilous journey that no man or woman could ever match. Fay Wray. And Fay Wray comes out and he's like, hi, everybody, hi. And Khan's like, he's just lost. He's still thirsting after her, chat. And he's like, also, I want to introduce her fiancé, just proposed tonight, as a matter of fact, I believe, and her husband, Captain Jack Driscoll. And he walks out, and like, yeah, and they're smooching on stage. And Khan's like, I hate him so much. He's very upset. He does not want no one macking on his bride-to-be. And he's like, all right, boys, and the press, get out here and take the pictures. I want everyone to see what Khan looks like. And you see all the press come out, chat, and he starts taking they start taking the pictures, and the big flash bulbs And Khan's like, the fuck is this? Because he starts getting, like, confused and disoriented, Chad, and starts getting scared. He doesn't know what the hell these fucking flash bulbs are. And he's like, he's just getting more and more aggressive, Chad. He keeps pulling on the chain until they start coming loose. And fucking, Captain Jack's like, it's the fucking flash bulbs. And Carl Denham's like, pay no mind. And eventually, Khan's like, and he rips off the thing. And the crowd's like, holy shit. And everyone just scatters at this point. As Khan frees himself, he takes off the bonds from his arms, and finally his tum-tum bond. He goes out there, chat, and he starts stepping the audience, just grabbing people, and just a smorgasbord, starts eating these motherfuckers alive, chat. They don't stand a goddamn chance. While Carl Denham, Fay Wray, and Jack in the press, they run out one goddamn door. And then, Chad, we see a lot of Khan's destruction through New York. You have all these goddamn 1930s cars just slamming into him. Him just grabbing them and going, just throws them and shit. He's just, grabbing people. They're trying to, trying to run away. He just grabs them. His go-to move, Chad. Put you in my mouth, chew you a little bit, and patooey, just spits you out. Eventually, Chad, he goes to this building right next to this train track right here, this train track. And he looks inside because he just sees this lady sleeping in there. He goes, pretty lady. And he reaches his big, giant, King Kong hand, just goes, bah. And she's like, ah! He just grabs her, Chad, but he grabs her, like, upside down. So she's like, ah! Just screaming. He's like, no, not like lady. And just drops her. just fucking drops her. He's like, you're not lady. Just drops her, Chad. Eventually you see this fucking train coming, and he's like, don't like train, and he just hits the track, Chad, and the fucking train goes off the track, because people are like, oh, like they're trying to get out, Chad, they're all fucking hitting each other, breaking their necks and arms, you just hear bones cracking, and he just grabs the train, he just starts shaking it, trying to get at these people who's grabbing him, and going, no, he doesn't like that one, Chad, and eventually he just starts like, I don't like any of you. And he starts climbing up this building, Chad, which I guess is this hotel building. Meanwhile, we cut to Jack and Fay Wray. They've gone to the hotel room. He says, we are getting the fuck out of New York. Fuck this. I'm done with this. I want to be a part of this. Let's get hitched, and let's move to middle America, because you don't have to deal with these kind of fucking problems dealing with kaiju. He's like, you wait here, you rest, and I'll be right back. And meanwhile, Khan's just like, yeah, motherfucker's going to leave. He's just looking through the window, and no one can hear him. No one can hear this giant monkey, this giant ape, right outside the window just going, I like to watch. And Jack leaves, and there's another famous scene of the giant, King Kong fish just coming through. Bah! It's not the Empire State Building yet. It just comes through, Chad, comes through, and he grabs her. She's like, ah! And Jack gets on, he trips over himself. He's like, no! And Carl Denham's there, too. And he pulls her out, and he climbs on top of the building. He's on top of the hotel, and eventually, Chad, he leaves. He hops from building to building. He goes across the building. They get up to the roof, and there's like, shit, he's going towards the Empire State Building. And eventually, Chad, he gets to the Empire State Building, and he starts climbing up it. Chad, and the fucking military, they got to get involved at this point. Like, we got to bring this motherfucker down. We see the scale of it. He's slowly ascending this building. He's looking down. We see all the fucking people, who are just like this mass, hundreds, like tens of thousands of people just looking up like, that's a big fucking, he monkey, Chat. As he slowly just ascends to this giant, this giant skyscraper. Eventually he gets on top of their, Chat. He's like, he puts Fay Wray down, like, there you go. Just beating his chest. And we see those aeroplanes, Chat, those aeroplanes start coming in. And they're like, okay, we got to take this guy down. Meanwhile, Jack and Carl Denham, they're in the Empire State Building too, but they're like, we got to wait until they take out the monkey before we grab Fay Wray, or Jack is. Carl Denham's on the ground. And so eventually, Chad, we get the climactic action scene in the film. We have all these fucking aeroplanes coming down. Chad's trying to shoot at Khan, trying to not hit Fay Wray at the same time. And they're missing a bunch. Khan, he grabs one of the fucking planes out of it. He goes, bah! He grabs it, Chad, and goes, boom, slams the plane against the building. Guy goes, oh! He falls to his death. It's not good for him, Chad, not good for them. But eventually, these guys start getting some good shots on Khan. He's like, ow! What the fuck was that? And he's like, oh, it's my blood. And they keep going in for a subsequent run, Chat. Those boom, 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 one after the other, until he's just like, fucking Jesus. He starts having that blood loss, Chat, a lot of blood loss. And Fay Wray's just like, just have not noticed me. He's like, just give me your hand, girl. I've always, I'm gonna go to sleep. And he falls over, Chat. He kills her. He's like trying to hang on. Last moment, he goes, yeah. And he falls, and he ragdolls too, because he hits the side of the building, Chat. Hits the side of the building until he finally hits the ground. It's like a big-ass water balloon on cement. Boom. Meanwhile, Captain Jack goes up there and rescues his lady-to-be, Chad. His lady-in-waiting takes her and to hopefully a happier and better life. Meanwhile, Chad, the whole fucking, press crowds around King Kong. They're all taking pictures of the supposed eighth wonder of the world. And they're going, it was the airplanes that killed him. That's what brought him down. And Carl Denham, he goes in there. He's like, I'm going to be sued for so much money. Oh, my God, I'm ruined. But he goes, no. It wasn't the planes that killed him. It was beauty that killed the beast. And that, my friends, is King Kong, the 1933 Kaiju film, Chad. A classic, Chad. And is often looked upon as one of the greatest horror movies of all time. It's a great film, Chad. Look, it's dated. It's cultural references and its effects. But for the time period of 1933, Chad, this was revolutionary cinema. No one had ever seen something like this on this scale before. It was absolutely incredible, Chad. It was a sensation, one might say. It was the progenitor. It was the OG in terms of being the first true giant monster kaiju film of its time before Gojira, 1954, popularized it, and it deserves all the credit in the world for what it accomplished and did. It created one of cinema's greatest icons, one of its greatest monster icons, Chad. It popularized the blonde bombshell damsel with Fay Wray's character, Chad. It did a lot. Created a lot of tropes. And it should be recognized as such. So this is the very definition for me, Chad, of a full-price film. I also say this, I do have a commentary and full video reaction of this movie on my Patreon right now. So if you want to watch this, which, by the way, is on HBO Max, available right now, Chad, you can have my commentary, $2 tier commentary. Boom. Got that right there if you did indeed enjoy this review. But there you go, Chad. King Kong 1933. Now, Brody, 3 out of 5 Agent Brody noses. He got a big old schnoz. He does. Thank you, Nia Brownie. Thank you. Oh. Thank you. So I think Godzilla deserves some credit as well. No, thank you so much. Yeah, Last Mirror, you like Peter Jackson film? Yeah. Now, as I've always said, it's the same thing I've said. I even said this at the beginning of the review. King Kong is looked at as the original kaiju film, the one that started it all. But Godzilla is the one that popularized it, much in the same way where Psycho can be looked at as the first slasher film of its kind. But John Carpenter's Halloween is the one that popularized the genre. This is what I have said. Thank you. Oh, you're like, yeah, I'm not a fan of the Peter Jackson film. It's just like it's an hour and a half longer, but telling the same exact story. Yeah, just Suzanne, who are you rooting for in Godzilla, on Kong versus Godzilla? Kong. He monkey, chat. But I hope you guys really enjoyed that review. I appreciate all your support, chat, with that one. Thank you. Kong versus Brody Nose. Well, Brody's nose and win. There's no doubt about that. Do I like the Jack Black one? No, I don't. I do not like that film. It is an hour and a half longer than it needs to be. There was no point to it. I like some of its action scenes, but other than that, I'm not a fan. Not a fan of the film, chap. No, if I were to rank the Kong movies, I would say Kong Skull Island is my favorite. I think the movie's a lot of fun. That's a full price. After that, I would say the 33 film. Then 1976 King Kong. Yeah, then after that, it'd be very hard. After that, you go off a precipice in terms of quality. I would say Godzilla, the original King Kong versus Godzilla. Then after that, maybe, I guess I do the Peter Jackson King Kong. And then King Kong Lives. I have seen Son of Kong. I guess I would put Son of Kong above Peter Jackson's Kong and King Kong Lives. That's what I would do. I also it depends on whether or not you enjoy what Peter Jackson jerk off metaphorically that is. I mean, yeah, to each their own. Yeah, I haven't seen this since I was a kid. It's good for a good watch. It's good for a watch. There's a fan if you want a good movie, Jack Black and Jungle. Just watch exactly that much better film. Much better film. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, no. But chat. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break. I'll be right back in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and refill my beverage, and then I'll get to my review of DuckTales, chat. Please entertain yourselves amongst yourselves. I'll be right back.